Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kokona, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI decals traveling back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody? We're back. Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 102 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our nearly 196,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 101 countries in which you are listening, and this is our 2023 ATV Motocross Preseason Update episode. By the end of this show, you will be chomping at the bit for the 9th annual Daytona ATV Supercross inside the legendary confines of Daytona International Speedway. With the season opener just 5 weeks away now, it is time to start discussing the exciting happenings in ATV Motocross this offseason, and we'll do just that with Brandon Hoag, Dane Molander, and Cesar Jimenez headlining this week's episode as we break down and discuss new teams, pro debuts, racing abroad, a rumor or two, and more in the episode ahead. Oh yeah, and year 3 of Digging Deep ATVMX Fantasy with signups now open at ATVFantasy.com. This is about to be so much fun as we look forward to yet another exciting season of ATV Motocross right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. With that, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, DID Racing Chain, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymara Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, a special shout out to Impact Solutions, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Big news from Manscaped earlier this month as they announced they are making the jump into the beard products game, and I think that we are responsible for speaking this into existence. Introducing the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped. The Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the ultimate beard care bundle. A premium beard sculpting machine, the Beard Hedger allows dudes like you and I to style our beards to exactly our liking with a zoom wheel featuring 20 different built-in lengths. This Pro Kit also includes beard shampoo, conditioner, oil, balm, and free gifts of a beard brush, comb, and scissors. Now you're speaking my language, Manscaped. Get 20% off with free shipping by using code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. So rad that Manscaped is continuing to invest in ATV racing as a longtime partner of Digging Deep. Help us keep them in the fold and involved in ATV racing by using our Digging Deep 20 code so they know that you enjoy Digging Deep and what we're all about here. Support all the great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website to help us out. The 2023 season will be here before we know it, and we both know you still need parts and gear. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. No new donors to shout out this week, but if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show here, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, and if you can't donate but you want to help us out, you can rate and leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. That helps us out a bunch, helps the algorithm, and helps get Digging Deep in front of more potential listeners. And a reminder, as you're listening to this tonight, grab your phone and head over to ATVFantasy.com and sign up for the new season of Digging Deep ATVMX Fantasy. It's a one-time sign-up fee. You get a season pass, of course. Compete against the Digging Deep crew, pro riders, industry insiders, your friends, and hundreds of others in ATV Fantasy. As always, we'll award weekly and season-ending prizes, of course, so sign up today at atvfantasy.com. And in addition, you'll be the first to see some of the new names ready to line up at Daytona by signing up now at atvfantasy.com. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up. It's sideways and the gate is down. Time to dig deep. Let's go. All right, guys, back here for yet another episode of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. And as we're not much more than a month away now from the start of the 2022 ATV Motocross season, just over 5 weeks out now, we figured it was about time for a preseason updates show. And there's no one I'd rather kick things off with than this guy right here. The entire industry is expecting another big season out of him. Brought to you by CST Tires, whether it's on the moto track or in the woods. Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal left no doubt that CST is the industry leader when it comes to sport ATV tires. Visit shop.csttires.com today to see their full line of products. We suggest the Pulse MXR front and white label soft compound rears, of course. And with that, let's welcome AMA ATV Pro National number 3 in 2022 Digging Deep Most Improved Pro Award winner, Mr. Brandon Hoag. What's up, mate? Welcome back to Digging Deep. How have you been, pal? It's been a little while.
What's up, mate? Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It has been a while. Just been here in Florida at the Decker training facility. I came down here like end of November and kind of just been trying to train and get back in good shape and just get back to riding. But it's been really good so far. Like the track environment's a little bit different this year, which is cool. It's like everybody's doing really good. The weather's been better this year, so yeah, everything's been pretty dang good.
Yeah, you mentioned how early you started. It was like you had to be the first one down there. I feel like it was early start for your off season, but it looks like it's paying off. The videos that we've seen look like you're rolling on that thing. And last time we talked to you, pal, last time we talked to you on the show, at least, we knew kind of about this big move. I think we touched on it a little bit, but there was things obviously we couldn't talk about, and there was stuff we couldn't all get into at that time. We've seen tons of footage of you riding at this point. You look amazing. So how's the off season been thus far? And how's the prep work been? How are you feeling on that Yamaha YFZ 450R?
Yeah, I'm like no BS, feeling pretty dang good on it. I think my speed is the same, if not better, on the Yamaha right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've rode a lot here in the past on my Honda, and I think I'm faster right now on my Yamaha. But I mean, just the bike in general though is a lot better. Like it's lasting. I mean, I'm on the same bike. I'm only on my second motor all winter.
Wow.
I turn the key, the thing starts. Like it's just night and day, way better. It's like a career saver, to be honest with you. It's I mean, other than tightening chains and just looking up or looking over stuff, like
yeah,
way better, dude. So I'm extremely happy with that switch.
So this is funny. This is funny, Brandon, how all this works out, because on what would it have been, on Wednesday or Thursday at Loretta's, you asked me about my Yamaha, and I'm pretty sure at that time you didn't know about this potential move for you. You had no idea at that time. And as the weekend played out, you know, I started to learn about this possible deal of yours. But on Wednesday or Thursday before the weekend, you were just straight up asking me about my quad and whatever. So it's funny. Yeah. It's funny to hear, you know, or to look back on how everything played out. And it's awesome to see you on the Blue Machine. And that was actually going to be my very first question, because, you know, we know on the Hondas in general, I think the durability is kind of a thing. It's obviously something that so many of us have dealt with, and you as well with that. And I was going to ask you on how, you know, the Yamaha has been durability wise for you, because that was one of the big selling points for you about the Blue Machine was, you know, was the, obviously, you know, I think it's obviously a better platform at this point, but yes, it's more durable and whatever. And to think that you've been riding since November and it's only your second engine, like that's a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah. It's just, dude. Yeah. I wish I would have went a lot sooner, I think, in my career. But yeah, like, you know, I'm not saying that the Honda's still not able to go do its thing, but it's just for me. And, you know, I'm not a full-time mechanic either. Like, I'm not a good mechanic. So the Honda had to just work on a lot more, and that allowed more failure too, just from me doing that stuff. So like this Yamaha, I mean, the frame's holding up, the fenders are holding up. Those little twist things are just way better.
Oh,
like,
dude, they're so nice. Yes, they're so nice. The quick release little guys, and yeah, you don't have flapping fenders like your practice Hondas did.
Right? Yeah, like it's just that type of stuff actually does make just a big difference.
For sure.
And yeah, I mean, I wash the bike, and then when I'm done washing, I turn the key and push the button, and the thing starts up.
How
like,
nice is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm riding a Cadillac, dude.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
yeah, it's been nothing but great things from it so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously the listeners will remember in 2021, you jumped on the Yamaha for a few races there, but your heart was still on the Honda at that time. Your heart was still with the Honda. That was a big factor with you joining the music racing squad last year, was that you wanted to ride a Honda. So kind of like take me through like what's the difference? Is it the mindset, or is it just being able, I mean, we don't, and again, I know some of this answer because you weren't practicing on a Yamaha at that time, because it seems to me like your setups are very similar. The setup is very close to what you were racing then on that TDR Yamaha. Like it's, I mean, TDR is still part of your program now, right? Like it's a very similar machine to what you were riding in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it simply was just the fact that I couldn't practice, like you said. Like, I think people overthink that. The only reason I wasn't fully in that Yamaha that year was just I didn't ride it outside of the races that much. So like,
well, it was a literal surprise to you mid-season. You know?
Yeah, like no joke. Went to Briarcliff. Tim unloads it from the van. That's not a joke. That was straight up. I got done testing my Honda at Briarcliff, and I come back and that thing was there. So yeah, that's all it really was. I mean, no, I will. That's not true. Actually, I will say some parts of me mentally thought that I could not ride the Yamaha that good. But I just learned that isn't the case. That's just not true. Like, I can ride the Yamaha just as good, if not better. Like, I think just me being young at that time, younger than I am now, I just thought, man, I need to stick on Honda because I can ride this thing that good. But I'm older, getting a little bit more smart, and yeah, like there's no holding on to the Honda anymore for me. Like you won't see me back on one.
See, and that's the thing. Like, you looked like you were flowing on this Yamaha from the very first videos that I'm sure they were Gloops videos, the Rip It Up Films videos, but from the very start, you know, like before Christmas, it was probably December, and there's videos coming out of you on this Yamaha, and you looked awesome. You know, you looked like you were flowing right from the start. And like you said, maybe it's a mindset switch where it's like, okay, you know, now I'm not bringing a knife to a gunfight. Not that the Honda wasn't a great machine, because you did great things on it last year. You just about won races. But maybe if you were on a Yamaha at that time, you know, it's hard to, you almost got to imagine you would have won some of those. You know, you might have won Daytona. Yeah. You might have finished second at Briarcliff and held on to that. Like things just would have went different, I would think, if you would have been on the Yamaha. Again, nothing against that program, nothing against that machine, but there's no debating that it's a better platform. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda sort of deal, but I'm hoping. You know, I firmly do believe the switch was the right thing to do for me. And even if, you know, like I don't have like a pressure to do better on it or anything like that. Like for me, it's more of just, I enjoy riding this machine more. You know, so I'm not concerned on like, oh, you switched to Yamaha and you're going to do worse, something like that. Like it used to concern me, but not anymore. Like I said, I don't think that'll be the case.
No. And so one thing, so telling the listeners here, Brandon and I BS'd for, you know, 30 minutes before we hit record on this thing. And part of what we talked about was how crazy the path is. You know, Brandon goes from being a kid in Nebraska, you know, barely getting to the nationals, and then, you know, gets connected with a couple people, and next thing you know, he's, you know, riding a Corrosion ATV, and then that becomes a relationship with Tim Detling, and then, you know, you're winning Pro-Am, and then you go pro, and then you're podiuming Pro-Am, and then you get that opportunity with Musigs, and that really took your career to a whole nother level. That revived your career. I think it revived some of the, you know, not that you ever fell out of love with it, but there were some dog days there, and, you know, you're in a better place now. So that helps lead you to this deal you're in now with the Yamaha. And it's like, I say this from time to time. I probably said it to you earlier today. Like, everything happens for a reason. It's crazy when you review the path, and it's like, man, every little thing, every little connection, relationship, opportunity, all those little things help you get to where you are now. And man, it's hard to argue that you that you're not in the right place, the best place you could be right now, but it's every one of those little opportunities. It's the corrosion, it's the TDR, it's the music. It helped lead you to where you are today. And like you said, I think the switch was right, but every single person along the way helped you get to where you are now. And that's an awesome thing to think back and, kind of think of where you came and, kind of look ahead to where you're going. It's a blessing for sure.
Yeah. Kind of like I told you, I think about it all the time. You think, I remember being young and I'd be afraid to like give somebody a phone call. Like I remember Jonathan Parachute scare the heck out of me.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
This guy I was just terrified of. And, and, even still to this day, if I have a problem, like sometimes I just call him. I'll just be like, JP, like I need help, man. Like, talking about something, maybe I'm learning a little bit more with credit or whatever. Yeah. But it's just kind of like, I would always be afraid to give those calls and talk to people and like one step at a time. Like it just would something good would always come out of it. And then I'd try to talk to this guy. And even if you get shut down or whatever, like you just got to keep trying and then doors open. And then if you back it up, like with, work ethic and good finishes, then more door, like it just,
and being a good and being a good person, man. Just be you, do you, be a good person, have a good head on your shoulders, make good decisions, do the next best thing, the next right thing. Things just work out. That's just life, man. It goes far beyond this sport. It's just it's life in general. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. Every step along the way was just a chapter in this journey that you're on, and what an awesome spot you're in right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. And that's why it's like, I'm looking at where I'm at right now. And to me, like, I just want to me, it's like writing a book, and I'm almost to the chapter to where I want to close the dang thing on winning races, and a championship would be just like such a story from start to finish if I could do that. And I'm on the chapter to where that's all I want to freaking do, but it's such a insane feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's, everybody's got their own story, but it's not that, you're a younger person, but it's not that much different than Chad racing a Banshee at the county fair, everybody's got their own story. You're writing an awesome one too. So, kind of talking about the Yamaha thing. So you actually debuted the YFZ 450R out West, right? At the Huevos Pro Invitational. So tell me what that experience was like. 'Cause that was like nothing you've ever done before.
Yeah. The Nevada race, I got dead last. I qualified dead last, and then got beat the very first thing. I just got stuck on the tires every single time. I had nightmares of tires that night. I just,
oh my gosh,
it wasn't my style of an event, but it was cool to go there. I just felt terrible that I got freaking last, and I was so mad. But I did the works thing too, which made up for it. Like the work stuff was super fun. I did the practice there like before the event, and then on Sunday I raced it. I ended up losing a bolt in my engine, and I blew up like the first 15 minutes.
Oh shoot.
But it was still cool to be there, and Walker was there and Max was there. Like it was a good race. Like I wanted to really race that race, but the Nevada thing, I try not to think too much back on.
Well, I wasn't trying to bring up a bad topic, but it's one of those things, and we talked about that when we were covering the event, is like everybody's background brings a totally different, like everybody's got a totally different background going to that event. Like, so, we know, you and I know people who spent their whole childhood bombing around in the woods and climbing shit and rocks and wood and trees and stuff. And like, that's not either of the things that you and I did. I know you, like you're spinning laps with a purpose, and so that's explains some of that. Right. But if you would have taken the woods out or the logs out of it or the tires out of it or whatever, like, you would have been right up front. So I know that you're a competitor. I know that you wanted to win the thing or whatever. But I got to believe it's a pretty cool experience to have in your back pocket. And who knows, maybe if there's ever another one, if there is another one, like Wes said, maybe you go back there and get some vengeance.
Yeah. I told Luke, if there's another one, I'm either training really hard for it and like putting tires in the backyard with a concrete barrier, just doing something.
Yeah.
Then I'll go race it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, I know that you love Deckers. Place is amazing. Tell me how the preseason prep has been going so far. Daytona's just around the corner, so I know you're working on specific things this off season. That's just how you work. So try to elaborate on that a little bit for me.
Yeah. So as of right now, like the way that the past 3 weeks have been is it's really volume focused because that's just the right way to do it right now. So that means trying to spin quite a few laps, doing a lot of training. Because we were from 8 weeks out, you can really ramp up volume and then absorb it before the season. So like for Daytona and Gatorback and this Decker race here, like we have 3 pretty big races for, at least for me, coming up soon. So I do want to be in like really good shape for it. And I do want to try to be really fast for it. So, and my goal is this year to try to start the season stronger than years past. So if I can, I really want to try to start with podiums. Like, Daytona kind of is a wild card, but I really want to try to at least one of those for sure, try to podium and start the year way better than last. And then, but yeah, as far as right now, it's just a lot of volume training. Like today I did 3 hours of training, no riding, but we've been riding like 2 days on, a day off, 2 days on. So like 4 days a week for me. And then, yeah, one day will be shorter sprint stuff. One day you go long, you just do the work, like nothing pretty, just try to get the laps in. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And everything's been good. I'm still doing a little bit of details with my suspension. Like, I do love where everything is now. I'm just trying a few different things. But like, I'm pretty much, like if I had to go race tomorrow, I could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I'm still on like Kenda tires. I'm on Walsh, TDR.
Yep.
Yeah, everything's like there's just no complaints for me other than just I want to get to racing right now, to be honest, and see, I want to know what I got to work on. Like the dirt bike guys talk about finding their base settings and stuff after the first race. Well, for me, it's like I want to try to do the same. If I'm way off for some reason, then I need to figure that out right away and just start the year. Like I said, I want to try to start the year up front, not in the back, and see what I can do for championship points wise. And yeah, just more goals towards that end.
Yeah. Well, you were starting Daytona as well as you possibly could have last year. So we'll get into that, but I don't think you need to harp on. I mean, yes, it wasn't a good points day, but you started it super, super well. But this is something that I've been thinking about. So Joel Hetrick has been, there at Deckers a good amount. So you have the advantage of seeing the reigning champ and the speed he's working with this offseason. You're able to see that on the regular. That's kind of an advantage for you because training apart from, those fastest guys or whatever, he's a proven champion, a 3-time champ, defending champ. Like you don't have to wonder what his speed is. You're not wondering, hey, what's Joel doing? I wonder if he found more speed this offseason. I'm sure he did, but you're seeing it. Like that's an advantage for you. That's an advantage of being at Deckers, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I watch them a lot. Like we do ride together and stuff too, but yeah, I get to watch them a lot. It could be good and bad. Like sometimes you'll feel really good and you'll see him just do something a little bit better and it's enough to just piss you off. But I enjoy that. Like I like to be able to see the intensity that he brings on the track. And just try to think at night, like, all right, am I going to be able to do that? Tomorrow, let's try to focus on this area or that area.
Sure.
But, yeah, like I enjoy it. I don't think it's, for me, it's not, I don't need, like, it's kind of weird. I don't feel like I need that.
Yep.
Just because I already know the guy will just, wherever you think you're going fast, like he'll probably be a little bit fast. So, it's kind of just that way, whenever I go somewhere else and I'm not with him, I just know I need to really push because he would be. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely is good to be able to watch him and see where the pace is at.
Yeah. Well, we know Deckers is the place to be, obviously. Just about everybody's there, at least at some point. So as you've been down there the longest, it seems like. So has there been anybody else down there that surprised you with their speed or standing out, working really hard? Anybody stand out while you've been down there?
Yeah, I definitely think that they deserve some talking about for the upcoming season. Zach Decker for sure.
Yeah.
I think he'll be on a better level than he was last year. Um, we're training together, like off the bike stuff. Logan Stanfield, same thing. I'm not trying to even like promote my training stuff here, but these guys they're actually like they're working hard, and I think that they're going to be faster. So I think the whole class like is going to be at a higher level, which yeah. So they definitely deserve to have some hype
So
behind them.
are those guys on the box guys?
Yeah, yeah. I have Zach, I got Joel, I got Logan, I got Vince Merman. They're all down here. Joel's home right now, but we're all doing the same program. So it's kind of like an Alden Baker thing, but
Got it.
at Deckers. So I mean, I'm not joking you, everyone's level right now is really high. So
That's awesome.
yeah. And I think it'll show, probably early on that like Zach's on a really high level. Same with, all these guys. So
Yeah.
hopefully, I think for me, it'd be cool to see that. Like these guys are going to end up just smoking me one day. And that's just part of it. I'd be, as bad as it sounds, like that's cool. Like they're putting in the work. So yeah, it's just cool to see these guys riding at a really high level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think that's part of it, elevating the sport, and you're doing that both by being one of the fastest guys out there and helping guys with their programs. So that's a pretty special thing. So as we look towards Daytona, obviously on these preseason shows, we talk about Daytona so much, like you talked about, it's kind of an outlier. It's kind of a wild card, but also like it's one of the biggest ones to win. There's probably nothing like winning inside Daytona. It's legendary. So I'm sure that you have some vengeance on your mind with Daytona after last year's heartbreak. But then, less than 2 weeks after that is the Gatorback race. You'll head to Gatorback for the first time. That's a place that you've never raced at, obviously. So that's kind of exciting. Like new is exciting, change is exciting. It's a legendary track when it comes to ATV motocross, dating back, 15, 20 years, which is pretty special. So that's got to be exciting too. It's also down there in that area. Like you said, it's kind of a 3-pack of the Daytona race, the Decker race, and Gatorback. So that's going to be an exciting time. And I think that Gatorback isn't anything to sleep on either. I think that that's going to be a really cool thing for our sport.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a big fan of the new tracks that we have. Like, I wish there were more. I think for us guys outside of Joel and Chad, I think it's good too. Like most of the tracks we go to, the exact lines that are even going to develop
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
book. Yeah. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I enjoy that.
Yeah, and Buds will be cool. That's going to be a fun weekend. Like, especially, they got the TT event going on the same weekend. I think that's going to be the place to be for all ATV racing fans in general. Like I hope kind of like we saw the 50th at Astabula, everybody came out of the woodworks. I hope that that's kind of what we see there at Budds Creek that weekend too. That's going to be the place to be. It's a fun schedule. Like you said, it's a little different. It's a fun schedule this year. And like I said, change is good. That's exciting. So like you said, we go to these tracks, especially like the sandy ones, like, exactly where every route's going to be, what every fast line is. So something a little different is an exciting, kind of pick me up for the series or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting.
Yep, for sure. That's why when Lake Sugar Tree was on the schedule the one year, I liked it.
Yeah.
Just because it was different. Yeah, I enjoy it for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think, when we look at specifically Gatorback, but like that's your style racetrack, like it's hard packed, it's fast. Like we saw some of your breakout rides at High Point and at Unadilla, like that's in that exact same mold as some of those racetracks. Like, and you said you wanted to start the season strong. You wanted to start the season fast, kind of on a hot streak. That's exactly what, Gatorback might be the opportunity for. It's going to be exciting. Like I said, that's a Brandon Hoag style racetrack right there.
Yeah, I've been watching all your videos and all the videos I can of it, just try to see if I can. I don't
even know if it's the same anymore, but I sure not at all. I love sharing those videos though. I could literally watch those on repeat all day long.
Yeah, Yeah. I do the same. Like it'll probably be totally different, but I'm still like just analyzing the heck out of it. But yeah, I'm super pumped to go there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time as always, on these shows. I knew we had to get you on kind of leading up to the season here because everybody is predicting big things out of you this season, and change is exciting. Like I said, change is good for everyone. So this team, we didn't touch on that too much. You brought up Luke. You're obviously talking about Luke Nixon there. So what's the name of the team again? I know you commented on one of our posts at one point a while back talking about that. What's the name of the team?
Yeah, I think I got it wrong the first time, but it's Westland Motorsports.
Okay.
Team name. I'm pretty sure. I think I'm accurate there.
Okay.
So, Luke and Emily Nixon. And then it'll be Hetrick Racing, TDR. That's kind of like and Kenda. Those are the big
heavy hitters.
And Walsh and PP, and I have all the components and stuff. But yeah, it's Westland Motorsports is going to be the team. I think we'll have like a tent, and that'll be the setup.
Nice. So Luke, do his kids race? Is that the scoop there?
Yeah.
Because I think I like probably raced him in like Pro-Am like years ago. Would that have been right?
Yeah. He used to race.
Number 56, maybe?
Yeah, shoot. I don't know his actual number, but I just probably
Yeah, I remember him, or 53. I remember him like racing Cowies maybe at one time. Like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm almost certain. Way back in the day.
Yeah, he's got all these stories we've talked about and stuff. But yeah, he used to race.
Okay. I thought that was him. At first I heard Nixon, and then I heard Luke, and then I put it together, and I'm like, you know what? This has got to be the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. He's from Australia, but I didn't really know him until we went to Nevada to the Vegas race, and dude, I loved hanging out with him and Emily. Like, I got to know him really well. Like, his personality is funny as heck. But he's also like no BS, like straightforward. It's just, dude, I love the guy. So like, it was the Nevada trip alone was just really good to, at least, for that. But
it was bonding. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun season at the races. Then obviously you're happy with your decision. So what about mechanic? Who's gonna be your mechanic? Do we know what's going on there?
Yeah, so Chad Reed from last year, same mechanic.
Perfect. Cool.
Yep, I'll be working with him again. I really liked having Chad. He's just really good he knows me well too. If I have complaints, he does it. He's just like the perfect mechanic. So I asked Luke if I could try to reach out and get Chad, and he said absolutely. So
awesome.
Chad was on board to help me out again, which I greatly appreciate. So yeah, excited about that.
Awesome. Well, pal, I think, like I said before, I think it's going to be a big season for you. I know, you got some high hopes. I think the industry, I think just about all of us, I think know how this is going to go, at least to a certain extent. So we're excited for you. And, again, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Looking forward to Daytona. So until then, pal, stay safe, stay healthy, and, we'll see you down at Daytona. Should be fun.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I'll try to do good this year. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm feeling pretty good, but we'll let the people just kind of think where I'm going to sit, and I don't know. We'll see where I stack up on
from all the comments and messages and stuff that I'm getting, like your pick trend and Digging Deep ATVMX Fantasy is going to be huge. I feel it. Like it's going to be big at the beginning of the year. So you got a lot of people behind you, pal.
I hope everybody like pumps my name, and I hope I can do it for them. But yeah, it's pressure is a privilege, right? So
there you go. Well, pal, I always come away from these conversations with you feeling so good. So I can't thank you enough for your time. Thanks for fitting us into your busy schedule down there. And man, like you said, I wish Daytona was tomorrow. But we'll wait 5 more weeks, and then we'll let everything play out the way it's going to. But I can't wait.
Yep, I appreciate you, mate.
Awesome, pal. That's Brandon Hoag joining us on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast ahead of what will surely be a can't-miss season for him and his crew, brought to you by CST Tires. CST's Pulse MXR tires and more are available at shop.csttires.com today. Thanks so much, mate. We'll see you soon.
See you, mate.
See you, pal. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of Patrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Nick Janusa, myself, and so many more believe and trust in CST Tires. Do you? You already know we're Team Blue Crew now more than ever here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. And whether it's 8-time and reigning ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, or 7-time and current XC1 Pro ATV GNCC National Champion Walker Fowler, who is now tied for second all-time in titles won, it's clear the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R is the winning choice of sport ATVs. This continued and unprecedented success for the Yamaha YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the undisputable fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in an ever-growing Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Best yet, Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program is back and stronger than ever here in 2022, meaning Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payouts and prize opportunities, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com, follow them at Yamaha Outdoors on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals is a name synonymous with ATV racing, synonymous with big-time success, and absolutely synonymous with the best-looking decals around. An offshoot of their parent company that was established in 1947, SSI first took shape from owner Ian Harris's passion for ATVs. With what started as just making numbers and decals for riders like Chad Wienen, the company quickly took off, and today you couldn't imagine ATV motocross without SSI decals. The graphics maker and designer now supports all the top teams in ATV motocross, as well as teams and riders racing GNCC, Work Series, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Canadian Pro Motocross, short course off-road trucks, UTVs, snowcross, and, oh yeah, 6-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. No project is too big or too small for SSI decals, making your identity stick with championship level graphics. Head over to SSIDecals.com today and then maybe call the doctor because things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you?
We are proud to be partnered with Namura Technologies. Since 2001, Namura has led the charge in the ATV and side-by-side market, covering more applications than anyone else in the industry. Namura's advanced piston technology uses a NASA-exclusive aluminum alloy that helps to reduce expansion rates, allows for tighter tolerances, and leads to higher overall engine performance for your machine. For more information about Namura's wide offerings of pistons, rings, gaskets, industry-leading top-end repair kits, and recently added connecting rods, visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com. Namura Technologies, your one-stop shop engine component supplier. We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals and cylinders, shock and suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valves, carb kits, bearing kits, and drive chain parts, Bronco is your hard parts source for whatever you need for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world, visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com.
From one former Pro-Am champ to another, we have to get to the bottom of a few things with this next guest. Is he planning to go pro? Is he really going to ride a Suzuki? Let's find out. All right, guys, back here with our next guest, and he's another guy that many of us are anxious to see what he has in store for the new 2023 season. Brought to you by Namura Technologies. Namura is your one-stop shop engine component supplier with wide offerings of pistons, rings, gaskets, top-end repair kits, and connecting rods. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com today. And now let's welcome your 2022 Pro-Am ATV Motocross National Champion to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, Mr. Dane Molander. What's up, buddy? It's been a little bit since we've had you on, so welcome back.
Hey, Cody. Thank you for having me back on. I couldn't be thankful to be back on here. Yeah, it's been a great season.
Yeah, man. So we haven't talked since you clinched the Pro-Am title with a dominant performance at Loretta's. Allow me to congratulate you. Probably be the last one to congratulate you at this point. It's been a little bit, but man, what a season it was for you. 5 overall wins, 10 podiums between Pro-Am and Pro Sport, 11 moto wins. It was a season that, you won't soon forget, pal. It was like a dream season for you, I feel like.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was definitely probably a highlight of my entire career. I mean, winning the championship for Pro-Am as it is just, I couldn't be more stoked about that.
Yeah. And then the way it ended too. I mean, with that dominant ride, you had 1-1 performance at Loretta's. You didn't have to win, but you still won. The way you raced up through the class, man, you put a stamp on that thing. And I think that you kind of left all of us that watched it kind of with this feeling like, man, Dane's the next guy. So had to feel good to put that cherry on top of that thing. Like you couldn't have ended it any better.
Yeah, I mean, it's that at Loretta's, it really came down to just anybody could win it. So I was basically all or nothing in, everything in for it, and just give or take.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, like I said, what a season. It was a dream season for you. So the season wrapped up all the way back in August. It's basically February now, so we've had some time between now and then. So what have you been up to this off season, pal? Tell me a little bit about the off season so far.
I've been working out a little bit. I've just started probably getting into riding the last couple of months. I've had some issues getting some bikes together.
Okay.
I just went riding yesterday. I actually ended up getting some horsepower out of the Suzuki's. So
I saw that. Yeah.
I'd be more stoked for that. I mean, I'm really excited for this season upcoming and the people I'm working with. I hope this program can hold together, and I think we got a shot at this.
Yeah, man. I saw that you were riding yesterday, which is awesome. It's cool that you're back home, right? Like you got good enough weather to be riding back home. Is that what's going on?
The weather up here it's all right. It's kind of iffy. I mean, it's a little bit colder, so we've been going down south to around North Carolina, jumping around down there. Not really got the whole way down to Florida yet. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks we can get down there.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I saw you riding yesterday. So I was like, oh, perfect. This is perfect time to talk to him. He's been spinning some laps. So that's awesome. So I heard you referenced the Suzuki. So we'll get into that. I heard early in the off season that you were planning to go pro. I don't know. I haven't heard anything official yet at this point. So I'm just going to straight up ask you, will we see Dane Molander lining up to make his pro debut at the 2023 ATV Motocross season opener at Daytona, or is that not something that's happening?
That's 100% happening. I'm all in.
I like it.
Class.
I like it.
Take it as a learning year this year. I'm not even going to mess with Pro-Am at all. I'm just going to put all my work into pro and see how we can do.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's great to hear. I got sent an official list the other day of pro licensed riders, and your name wasn't on there yet. So I was all ready to put you in the fantasy game and start building all that. And I was like, well, better hold off till I talk to him. I didn't know exactly what was going on there, but that's an awesome thing to hear. I think that's where you belong at this point. Watching the season that you had last year, I don't think that you have anything left to prove in Pro-Am at this point. And, man, that's got to be exciting. This is something that you've been working towards your whole life. That's got to be a great feeling.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a dream. It's been my dream since a little kid to run with the big boys, and here I am.
Yeah.
So
well,
I couldn't be happier.
I'm sure that, you probably, as you're working on quads, as you're working out in the gym, as you're spinning laps at the practice track, as you're laying in bed at night, you're thinking what it's going to be like, to be at Daytona and line up with those guys for the first time. So tell me a little bit about those emotions. I mean, we all grow up dreaming of what that'll be like. So tell me kind of what comes to mind when I ask you that. It's just got to be a dream come true.
Yeah, it's for sure a dream come true. I mean, lining up on the line with my idols I've been looking up to my entire life coming up through, seeing these other guys moving up through, being like, wow, I hope I can do that one day. And, now we're here. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a different experience lining up on the gate, looking to my left, seeing Chad, looking to my right, seeing Joel.
Yeah, that'll be super exciting. It's one of those things too. I mean, all of us, fans and other racers, like everybody, it's exciting to see new blood in the pro class, and especially when someone like you comes in and, you're a Pro-Am champion. You're one of the guys that, everybody wants to see how it's going to go. And man, that creates so much excitement for the new season. So congrats on that. I'm sure you're stoked. And that kind of leads me directly to my next question. So I was told again early in the off season that you were going to be riding a Suzuki. You already said the Suzuki. I saw the pictures from yesterday. You're riding a Suzuki. So obviously, you're going to confirm for me that you're riding a Suzuki. So tell me about that decision to stay on a machine that's super similar to the hybrids that you had been riding in years past.
Yeah, about mid-season last year or beginning of last year, we kind of made the decision that if we were going to go pro, we'd probably try to stick with the Suzukis. I mean, the geometry of the bike just kind of suits me completely. Like, it's a really easy jump from the hybrid to that. Plus, with having all the parts and extra parts from the hybrid, it's a lot of interchangeable stuff besides obviously the engine stuff. But other than that, I mean, I've rode a couple of Yamahas. I'm not a huge fan of how they ride. They're not kind of suited to my riding style, whereas the Suzuki, I love that. I mean, that whole geometry and frame and everything just rides amazing. The only concern we had was pulling some power out of the dinosaur engine over there. So, but we've made some stuff work. There's a lot of new technology that came out with it. I mean, a lot of the stuff is very comparable to the Yamaha, and I think we can pull comparable numbers to the Yamaha, if not more.
Yeah, well, and I think that there's so much to be said about riding something that is similar to what you're used to. I know that that's a conversation you and I have had in the past where you were coming, from the 250 and then moving to, to the big quad classes, to the 450 classes, and basically riding the same quad with a different motor. So to now be going to the pro class and riding a chassis that's very similar, to not have to, you're going to be learning the pro class. So that's going to be a learning curve, but then to not have to learn a whole new quad at the same time, I think that that's a major advantage, for you and your program. I would assume that that's why the decision was made.
Yeah, no, for sure. That and kind of like a budget thing. I mean, it's a lot easier, I feel like, to go into the Suzukis. I mean, you're looking at $6,000 for a basically complete bike. I mean, if you want to get into a race bike, you're looking at no more than like $10,000, whereas a Yamaha, nobody's really selling complete bikes right now. You're looking at $12,000 to just get into a stock one, and then like 15 into engine and other accessories and whatnot. So, I mean, for that to work for me, it's basically the easiest way.
Yeah, no, I totally get doing it within your means. And yeah, I'm all for that. I know exactly what that's like. Man, you're going to have a lot of LTR lovers out there that are going to be pulling for you. So that's going to be really cool. So where do you see yourself finishing, pal? I know that that's a big question, but tell me kind of about your goals, at least, that you have kind of in the back of your mind as you're getting ready to embark on, this journey of a professional career for you, racing against the fastest guys in the world and the most prestigious ATV racing series in the world. Tell me kind of what your goals are, whether it's, goal for Daytona, goal for the season. Tell me about that. What comes to mind?
I mean, a goal, honestly, over everything would be a top 3, but I mean, a realistic standing, I'm hoping for at least a top 10 and pushing for a top 5.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think the biggest thing is avoid the big crashes, do all the laps. You're a guy that your speed is good, you get good starts, you're used to being up front, all those things. So if you go out there and ride the way you know how, I think that you're going to find yourself right inside the top 10, right where you need to be. And I think that that's the biggest thing, right? Because in the pro class, you have all kinds of craziness happens. There's people going every which way. There's fast guys everywhere, but things happen. Guys crash, stuff breaks. I think that, doing all the laps, staying consistent, all those things is the biggest thing. And, we saw you, pal, we saw you with some magnificent crashes last year. So those got to stay in the past. That can't be something that follows you to the pro class. That's going to be done with that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely hoping for none of those. I mean, as long as I can keep it on all 4 wheels and stay on it, I mean, that's the best thing I can possibly do. I mean, I had my fair share of getting in some pileups last year also in that pro sport class. That was kind of a disaster, but I think as long as I'm able to kind of stay away from all that and keep pushing, I think I'll be good.
Yeah, it's good for your brand. I mean, it's good for the brand, a lot of views on social media, but not good for the results at the end of the day. So yeah, that'll be awesome. And what do you think about, we got a couple new tracks this year. Obviously, you've raced Daytona in the past. It's a bigger operation when you're a pro. And then, you got Gatorback, which is new for younger guys like you. Budds Creek is I don't know if you would have been racing Budds Creek in 2012 when we last raced there. Probably not. So a couple new tracks, a little bit different schedule. That'll be exciting too, right? Like change is always kind of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gatorback is definitely a new one for me. I've always heard people rave about how nice of a track that is and how sweet it is. So I'm excited to go there. Budds Creek, I've actually rode not the national, but
Local
for
races.
D13 back in the day, I'd go there. I've probably done like 3 or 4 races there back on like 90 shifters and CVT. So I mean, the track hasn't really changed much. So the layout's basically the same. So it shouldn't be too bad. And then like underground coming back, I'm excited about that. That's track I got my first ever national win at. So
oh, nice.
So I'm happy about that one.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Budds Creek is kind of towards your area of the country over there. So that's another good one for you, good place for you. And I think it's cool. It's actually, you know, with Daytona being on a Tuesday and basically Gatorback being 10 or 11 days later, that's actually really nice for everybody, for the traveling aspect of it. You're all already going to be in that area. You can ride for, you know, a week or whatever, prep for Gatorback and then be right over there. I think that the way that the schedule works out probably helps a lot of people. You can go down there for one trip, race those 2 races, hammer those out, and then move on to the rest of the series. I think that is something that the schedule makers did that kind of benefits everybody, especially, you know, I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm way up north, but you're in Pennsylvania, you're pretty far north too. And those trips across the country, man, they break the bank for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're not cheap. I think it was a good decision. And I mean, you got Decker Training Facility making that race in between the
oh yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of that'll pull people into staying and wanting them to go there and stay for a week or so and then move to Gatorback. So I think that was a smart decision on their behalf for sure.
And is that something that you'll plan to do, is race that event down there in between?
I'm not 100% sure yet. It's invite only. I have not received my invite yet, so debating on that one. But if I do, we'll see if I go.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll get the invite, but and that's like big money race, right? Like, didn't I see like 10 grand is getting given away, or maybe it's more? Either way, it's big money.
They're saying, I think $25,000 in just the pro class.
Okay.
And then I think it's the first place in the pro class walks away with, I think, 15,000, and then it goes down from there. But I mean, all the other mini classes and whatnot, they're all getting paid out too.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So credit to those guys, man. You can't say enough good things about the Deckers. And obviously my family, my mom had just said to me this morning, she's like, man, can you imagine what it would have been like, you know, when I was staying in Florida in the off seasons and everything, where, you know, I had to drive to the gym. I had to drive to a nice laundromat. I had to, you know, do all these things, drive somewhere to get my bike worked on if need be, if I needed some help with something, drive to Walsh. So yeah, to have all of that in one place, we've talked about it on all of these preseason shows in years past, but to have a place like Deckers where it's all in one spot, I've never been there still to this day, but man, it looks incredible. Track looks amazing. To have all the facilities and everything, infrastructure that they have there, awesome people obviously too, and then to have, you know, it's kind of like an Alden Baker like deal for you know, from the dirt bike side, where you have all of these fast guys all riding together. You know, when you're prepping for a season and you don't have other fast guys to kind of gauge yourself off of, kind of a question mark on where you stand. If you're at Deckers, you know exactly how fast all the fast guys are going, because most all of them are there. So advantage to everybody down there. But yeah, what an awesome place that is, and what an awesome event that is too. Like that'll be the place to be on that weekend. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then they're pulling people with that champ camp, which will be kind of like a new dream camp. So I think that'll take off pretty good too, with having everybody coming to that. And basically, I mean, they'll have fun. I mean, you can swim there, you can do whatever. So I mean, I think they'll turn that into a new dream camp and basically take that and run with it.
Yeah.
So, but the facility is great, the whole thing. I mean, you got Woods Loop, you got 2 tracks, pit bike track. I mean, kids got everything to do there, so you don't really have to go anywhere.
And how cool is it that, you know, I know that they do dirt bike stuff too and whatever, like obviously it's open to everybody, but to have a place like that, that's very ATV like centric and focused. And obviously, you know, they're ATV people. To have a place so nice and to have them be ATV people. So they're, you know, they lean towards ATVs maybe more than anything else. What a blessing that is for the ATV community, because in the past, you know, one place after another started, you know, not allowing ATVs. And now you have a place like this, that's the biggest, baddest place around, and they're ATV focused, it seems like. Man, what an advantage, what an awesome thing that is for the ATV community.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, 90% of the heavy hitters are moving down to Florida to train in that winter when it starts getting cold wherever they're from. So I feel like a majority of the tracks down there are kind of starting to close down on quads. I mean, some tracks will allow quads on like one day and not another day. So it's kind of iffy and depending on when you can ride and when you can't. So, I mean, going to Deckers is you can ride pretty much every single day. You don't got to worry about anything but weather. I mean, it's a smart decision.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Well, pal, I can't thank you enough for your time and for fitting us into your schedule. I was going to ask you if you were going to race Pro-Am. You already told us that's not going to be a focus for you, that you're going to focus on the pro class. And I totally understand that, kind of saving all your bikes for that, saving your energy for that. That makes so much sense to me. Man, it's going to be fun. You're going to be one of the guys that I think all of us are going to be watching. I know that we all expect, big things out of you. We want to see where you're going to stack up in this pro class. But man, I got to congratulate you again on making this step to the pro class. It's a dream come true for you. And like I said, everybody's going to be watching. So I knew I wanted to get you on this preseason update show, see what's going on, get the confirmation on the pro class, get the confirmation on the Suzuki. Think that everybody's kind of excited for that. And now as soon as I get off this, I'm going to have to add you to the fantasy game because I think a lot of people are going to be picking you in ATV fantasy.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me back on, and I appreciate all the support. So, I mean, I'm hoping I get a good shot at this season, hoping to keep everything together and stay on all four wheels this season and give it my best shot.
Yeah, you're going to be a hot pick for sure. So what's the next 5 weeks look like as we get close to Daytona? You said maybe going down to Florida, spinning some laps leading up to that race. Is that what it's looking like?
Yeah, it has to happen. I mean, I've been trying to get down, but like I said before, like problems with bikes, trying to get them together, and it's crunch time right now. I gotta start riding more and more rather than just on the weekends. So I'm gonna try to get down there and ride as much as I can before Daytona.
Yeah, well, you're gonna be ready to go. I think mindset's the biggest thing. So if in your mind you're ready to go, you'll be ready to rip. But that's awesome, man. Well, stay safe, keep grinding. Thanks so much for joining us here ahead of your rookie season as an AMA ATV Pro. And we'll look forward to you slaying it at one of these races and having you back on here to talk about it, pal. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. That's Dane Molander signing off on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by Namura Technologies. See you soon, buddy. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the US and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0 and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen. Plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Nearing 2 decades into the brand's existence, Factory 43 is back and better than ever, continuing to make major waves in the ATV world. For the 3rd consecutive season, Factory 43 is the official aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing ATV team, providing their state-of-the-art Evo Nerf bars, MX-style front bumpers, and grab bars for 2-time champ Joel Hetrick. If you're in the market to upgrade your Nerf bars, bumpers, or grab bars, head over to factory43atv.com to see their full line of industry-leading products available for all makes and models. Head over to factory43atv.com today.
Success in the ATV MX world is similar to what creates financial success as well. The right people, the right advice, and more importantly, hard work and the benefit of an ongoing relationship as situations change and adversity is experienced. Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Haymauer Financial Group can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help your family prepare for whatever life brings. Call me, Scott Haymauer, at Haymauer Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, at 920-338-8150. That's 920-338-8150. Offices located in beautiful De Pere, Wisconsin, with registrations and clients nationwide.
Just like the sport of ATV motocross as a whole, our Digging Deep community is brought together by the love for racing that we all share. Our sport is compiled of many great people, and leading that charge is the Launderville family at Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply. This racing-owned family business is a steel and concrete supplier serving the entire United States. Launderville Steel is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products, headlined by their 4130 chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for ATVs and UTVs, off-road truck racing, late model dirt and pro tractor pulling series, drag racing, and more. Launderville Steel loves their racing just as much as we do, but don't forget about their concrete division as well. With over 25 years of experience, the Concrete Division can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. Their central Midwest location enables LSE to easily serve customers across the United States. For a quote, additional info, answers to more of your questions, or to talk a little racing, head over to laundervillesteel.com or give them a call today. We are proud to be partnered with yet another racer-owned company. Thank you, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply. Here at Digging Deep, we have an obvious passion for ATVs and pridefully enjoy sharing the sport's history. Since 2019, when the podcast was born, we've been working to partner with individuals who share our passion, but one man and his vision had been missing from our partnership group. Until now. When it comes to the sport's history, the hallowed grounds of Binky's Forever ATC Museum has it all. Binky Tapscott's mind-blowing collection of 3- and 4-wheelers has preserved history by spanning all makes and models, from Honda 3-wheelers in chronological order to unique builds that shaped ATV racing as we know it, like Doug Gust's iconic DRZ-powered hybrid thumper and everything in between. There's no denying Binky's passion, a passion that we certainly relate to here at Digging Deep. Binky's goal is to share his amazing collection with fellow enthusiasts by making his prized possessions accessible to the public via scheduled visits. Follow Forever ATC Museum on Facebook and watch foreveratc.com for further updates on possibly getting a chance to see Binky's Forever ATC Museum for yourself. We are proud to welcome Binky's Forever ATC Museum to the Digging Deep family. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. Our final segment this week is one you're really going to enjoy. You know this fantasy darling, but do you really know him? Kick back and enjoy his story. What a fun conversation this was. All right, guys, our final guest of the night is a first-timer here on the podcast, but someone many of you know quite well. Brought to you by Bronco ATV and UTV components, from electrical components to engine internals and cylinders, suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valve kits, carb kits, bearing kits, and drivetrain parts. Bronco's catalog has it all. Visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com today. Say hello to our Costa Rican AMA ATV pro, Mr. Cesar Jimenez. What's up, buddy? Welcome to Digging Deep. We're so stoked to have you here with us, pal.
Hi, Cody. Thank you for having me here. It's awesome to be part of your podcast, and I just want to say hi to everyone, and I'm really happy to be one more year in the States.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked to have you here with us. Obviously, I was just telling you before we hit record on this thing that a lot of our listeners obviously know who you are, been following your career, picking you in the fantasy game, all these things, but we don't all know your story necessarily. I don't. I know where you're from, but that's about it. So I'm stoked to hear a little more about that. And like I said, from the top, at the top there, I mentioned, many of our listeners know you well as a racer because in 2021 you were one of the most selected players or racers in Digging Deep ATVMX Fantasy. I called you a fantasy darling because you were scoring more points than just about anybody for our fantasy players that season. You were a staple on so many of our teams. So Digging Deep ATVMX Fantasy players know how good you've been at times. And it's been fun to see all the focus that ATV Fantasy has put on you and guys like you, buddy. You've made a lot of fans out of people out there, out of people playing the fantasy game.
Yeah, dude, that game was a lot of fun. I never expected to be picked that much, and just thank you for everyone that believes in me and my progress. And it just sometimes it's really hard to believe in yourself when you're against so many fast guys.
Yeah,
but it's just a little extra knowing that people pick you up and you have to like help them out too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really the coolest thing. I've thought about that too. I've thought about that too. Like as a racer, if the game would have been around when I was racing the pro class, and just thinking like maybe that little bit of incentive, people are picking me this weekend. That's got to be the coolest thing. But tell me a little bit more about yourself, pal. You're from Costa Rica. You actually reached out to me, which was awesome. You spoke about, wanting to come on the podcast because you're one of the foreign riders that has the most experience on knowing what it takes to compete here in the States. So what is ATV racing like in Costa Rica kind of compared to what it's like here?
Yeah, so I started racing in Costa Rica in 2004.
Okay.
And
how old are you, pal?
Right now I'm 26.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I think it was 7 years when I started racing.
Okay.
Before that, I practiced probably 2 years. And then I started racing and climbing categories until I reached pro class in Costa Rica and won it in 2017.
Okay.
And that's the year I decided, okay, I want something extra and jumped like full season in the States. My first time in the States was 2016.
Yep.
With Joe Bird. I came to do 2 races. Mm-hmm. And unluckily, both of them were rainy. So the only time I got track was Friday practice to know like how it feels to race here. Mm-hmm. But the main difference is that in Costa Rica, tracks are not flat, but they don't get rough.
Okay.
So we still have some big tracks with big jumps, but it doesn't get rough, never.
Got it. So is it hard packed or is it sandy? Because I always think of it as sandy where you come from.
No, it's really hard packed. Like if you crash, you're done.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like Unadilla.
Yeah, it's like Unadilla, but since we don't have that many riders, it doesn't get rough. Like it's always the sliding into the turns, like throttle control. Mm-hmm. It's all about that. Mm-hmm. That's why normally people have really hard times coming to the States because, at least in my case, I'm never used to riding sand and in rough tracks. But now I love it. Like now, I just want to ride rough tracks. It's the most fun.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like though. What a shock it must be when you ride these tracks over here for the first time, because it's impossible to find a track as rough as what an ATV National is like. Right. And coming from, like even growing up here, like, if you got enough quads at a local track, there can be some roughness or whatever, but if you haven't been exposed to that at all, I can't imagine what a shock that must be at the beginning. In one of those years, 16 or 17, I believe your first, one of those years you raced at Millville in Minnesota, right? And that's like the roughest place that there is. So that had to be crazy for you.
That was, I really wish we could go to that track. That track is just so nice. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy rough. I didn't know what to do. Like just pick a rod and follow it. Mm-hmm. It was an awesome time, and it was just for fun. Just hit the jumps and do some track like time on the track, but it was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I was going to ask you about that because I thought I remembered Joe Bird being involved in your program at the beginning there in 2016 and 17. So what was that like? Like, how does that work with, like, how do you get connected with Joe? How does that work at the beginning there?
So in Costa Rica, I was always known like the rising star.
Okay.
And I had a really good friend, Tavo Solis is his name.
Okay.
He was always like behind me, like telling me what to do, like little stuff. And he told me Joe Bird had a riding school.
Okay.
So since we didn't know anyone from the States or racing, it was like really hard to make that jump.
Sure.
And I emailed Joe Bird on his website, and that's how everything started. Like he told me he had a Yamaha to rent. I was riding Yamaha at the time.
Okay.
So it functioned pretty good at the beginning.
Okay. So, but what a grassroots kind of start or whatever, just started with an email and then you got connected with Joe Bird. I mean, and I've thought that so much. And I said to you already before we hit record on this, that I don't think of you like, the Vitek Nikeniaks and the, some of these guys that we've seen, Patrick Chiarini, even guys that like are transplants that we've just seen for like a year here and there in the States. Like you've been here for so long that I just think of you as one of our guys at this point. But I can't imagine what it's like to go to another country in a totally different world and like compete at, the top level in another country and not know anybody or like how the racing works or whatever. Like, I can't imagine what a giant task that must feel like at the beginning. I don't know what you can say about that, but man, I can't imagine what that's like. It's gotta seem like so much,
Yeah. Well, the hardest part is leaving the family away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like being most of the time alone, like just training on the gym, on the quad, everything. And actually, now before I forget, now it's easier to race on the States since a lot of social media, you can just type someone's name and they'll reply to you, give you like an advice or something. But back in the day, there was none of that. Like
back in the day, like 8 years ago, but you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Like people weren't as accessible then.
Yeah, exactly. It was hard like social media was just starting to get up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was harder. And yeah, racing in another country is pretty hard. Like now that I'm being through a couple of teams, it's nice to like meet new families, but it's always hard to be like mostly by yourself. It's like not being, it feels like being home with the family that you're staying with, but not at home like with your actual family.
Yeah, you feel like a transplant, like I've stayed at enough, I stayed at Jeremiah Jones' house for a while when I was a young pro, and some other the parishes. I stayed at the parishes, some places like that, and man, forever grateful for that. But it's still not like, so you're not at your home, like it's just a different feel. So you got to kind of get comfortable being uncomfortable a little bit. And so did you learn anything from Joe at the beginning that you still like use to this day? I mean, tell me about that.
Oh, everything in Costa Rica. When I used to race there were like no like techniques experience, if I can say it like that. Like people just ride like how they think it was the best. So before I went to Joe Bird's, I never used the rear brake. Never in my life. I just knew it was right there.
Hey, that's funny because most people only use the rear brake when they're like younger and they don't use the front brake. So that's funny.
Yeah. So now I consider myself a rear brake guy. Like I'm always using my rear brake on the turns and just dragging, not blocking it.
Yep.
But it's cool, like just to learn that a little. I learned also to scrub with him. He teach me everything, like and I tried to bring it to Costa Rica. Unluckily, it's a really small country where you don't get a lot of support. But there were a couple of guys that like kind of grabbed my experience and help themselves. So I feel good for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to assume back home that people look up to you like you're Joe Bird, you know, like you're right. I mean, you're Cesar Jimenez, the Costa Rican that's racing in the United States. That's going to be a huge deal to guys back home, I would think.
Yeah, and it's actually, being from a little country like Costa Rica is awesome because I get a lot of media background. Like I'll appear in the biggest newspapers, I'll appear on TV. So it's actually really cool to get that media support, but from monetary wise, there's non support. Like
sure. Well, it's gotta be cool though, because you got to feel like your whole country's kind of behind you though, right? And and it's funny you talk about technique and not using tons of technique back then, because there's probably guys, you know, you talked about, you know, all the way back in 2016. So you come here, you're racing the B class. Back home, you're the pro champion. Yeah, the pro champion. You have probably had guys trying to ride like you, you know, and you felt like you had no technique, yet the guys at home were trying to be like you. That's funny.
And the hardest thing is to mentally in Costa Rica, you're the best one. Then you come here, you're no one. That's so hard to learn. Like, just going back to B class and almost starting to learn how to ride again, because all these roads and sand tracks are just so demanding, and you need a lot of technique and setup for the bikes. That is just another world.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you come here and you kind of think like, man, I thought I could ride, you know, like we heard basically the exact same story from JL Opperman, right? Like he was the South African champ and comes here and he's racing the B class, you know, and it's funny how that works. But again, what an awesome story, you know, especially for you, like to be here for all those years. Like I said, like you said, you raced a couple races in 2016 and 2017, and then decided that you wanted to go full-time after that. And, you know, first you're in the B classes, and then you're in the A classes, and then Pro-Am, and now Pro. You've always been a contender, basically, in whatever class you raced. You were always basically racing in the top three the whole time, which credit to you, and just to gradually get better and better and better. So when you first come to the States, I'm sure, you know, like, you know, the names of Joel Hetrick and Chad Wienen and whatever. And, you know, then you're racing the B classes and and then A class and Pro-Am, and get to Pro. You've been watching these guys, and then you get to Pro. Now you're racing against the guys that you've always looked up to. So what was that like to move up to the Pro class and then line up against those guys? Because, man, that had to be crazy too. I remember being a young pro and lining up with those guys. And I've said it on the show before, been like, okay, so I can't beat any of those guys. I might be able to beat a couple of those. You know what I mean? Like it's a mental hurdle to overcome for sure.
Yeah. That's what, like, rookies, that's what they learn in that class. Like, you might come from Pro-Am where the top guys will go away from the pack and then race each other like, they'll have a gap. In Pro class, there's none of that. Like, you're always going and going and going.
Right.
So that's so hard mentally. And then, like, let's say you got a good hole shot and I'm top 4 or 5 on the hole shot, and then you see Rastrelli going by you, Chad going by you, and you're like, where am I at? Like, is it real? Like, and it's just so hard to believe in yourself. And I think that's one of the hardest things to learn in Pro class, that you belong to the class.
Exactly. Like, you belong there. You're exactly right. It's one of those things you kind of got to keep telling yourself, like, man, I belong here. Was it, I think it was Briarcliff 2021, right? You got a good start and you were up front for a while. You were in like 6th for half the race, it felt like, or more.
Yeah, it was cool.
And you start to realize, like, hey, I can do this. And I think you got a top 10 overall that weekend, I'm pretty sure.
I think I lost it because of Moto2, but I was
you?
Really close.
Okay. Yeah. Either way, you was a great ride.
I blew up. Yeah, I blew up Moto2.
Okay. Either way, great ride for you though. And it's just those little things. It's just those little things that, you know, as a young pro, it's just kind of those building blocks in your mind. And you start to realize, like, hey, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, at least I remember feeling like the weight of the world being on my shoulders, like, man, everybody's watching me and all these things. And it's like, it's just racing, you know. But like you said, a testament to, you know, kind of how good the class is. Every guy in there basically was like the fastest guy in Pro-Am at one time, you know? So,
yeah, exactly. Sometimes you get last in Pro and you think you're so slow. Like you ask yourself why I'm in pro, but you have to see where you come from. Like I lost my podium in pro because I blew up last race, but I was top 3 in pro-am most of the year. So it's not that I'm slow. It's that just I'm racing the best guys in the world, basically.
Exactly. That it is the best of the best. You're absolutely right. And that pro class now is so fast. It just seems to be getting faster and faster. There's another, group of fast young guys coming in this year.
Yeah.
And so you were really, really strong in 2021. You got a top 10 at one of the races that year, which was, a big deal. I tell people that all the time, right? Like that's a big deal. Like
such a big deal. Yeah.
Finishing in the top 10 is like winning for, some of us dudes out there. So that's awesome. But then things never really clicked last year. It seemed like you were always battling something. You were battling quad issues. You were battling injuries. It was just like one thing after another. So now, sitting here, we're not that far out from the season. The season's getting closer and closer by the day. You have an opportunity to kind of use that adversity from last year as a learning experience going forward, looking to 2023 and beyond. But I bet, you have to be excited for a fresh start in 2023. I remember like you had to feel beat up mentally and physically, late in the year last year. I remember you just like taking a round off just to kind of clear the slate and get ready for the stretch run last year. So I'm sure you're feeling like you got a whole new breath of fresh air going into 2023 and you're just ready to hit the ground running. I have to believe that that's how you're feeling.
Yeah. My issue last year that actually not a lot of people know is that I crashed in November in Costa Rica. I was going to start getting ready for the season.
Okay.
And when I came to the States, I rode too many, like I was probably riding 5 days a week.
Oh, sure.
And my doctor said I just got too much muscle in my forearm.
Oh,
so
wow.
as soon as I will grab a handlebar, I'll have it pumped.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I remember the day last year that I was riding, actually, Brandon Hoag, we were training together. And I stopped riding Friday, and there was rain on the weekend. I got back on Monday. I did 2 turns, and I had arm pump.
Oh my gosh, dude.
2 turns, not even a lap. And
Jeez.
Since then, my year was completely done.
You couldn't hang on. Yeah.
No.
Jeez.
And I was so mad because in Daytona, I got a good hole shot. I was second behind Chad. And just probably if I will be able to just hang on and block the lines, I could probably get a good result. But it's just what it is.
That's tough. That's tough. And you're not the only one that's had that happen, right? Like you hear about it in motocross and supercross racing, the 2-wheel side too, is guys, whether it's overtraining or some, a little wrist injury or something like that, where, they just get this chronic arm pump and it might just be for one season and then they never deal with it ever again. It's just the craziest thing.
Yeah. Now that I'm a Ford, I have rode like 2 or 3 days and now it's funny. My arm pump is going to the right hand, which is the one that is supposed to get pumped.
Okay.
But it's just part of it, and I just have to push a little bit through it, and I'll probably be ready for Daytona, if not for Gatorback. But
sure,
I'm really looking forward to this season.
Yeah, man. And I can speak on the arm pump thing a little bit. Like I'm not a guy that got tons of arm pump, but always at the beginning of the year here, like always when you first get on the quad, because where I'm from up in Wisconsin, like right now the wind chill's like -10, so I'd have 5 months or whatever that I wouldn't ride a quad. And then you get on a quad and it's like instant arm pump kind of thing. So I'm sure after you get a week or 2 in of riding, that'll go away and you'll be totally set going forward. But you mentioned Ford. So I was just anticipating, kind of prepping for our conversation here, assuming most of your program was going to be the same and you were still going to be, on Hondas and still had Deckers, but that's not necessarily the same. So kind of talk about the changes to your program for the new season.
Yeah, this year I'm just changing airs. I'm going to be riding with the Fords.
Okay.
Things are start working really good with them. So I just text John one day and I got a call back and they talk it and they send me, yeah, you can stay with us. And that's basically what I normally like to get, like just the ride. And just everything here is amazing. Like the facility, they are awesome people, like really awesome people. The track is, I have no words to explain how fun
it
is
looks
that
so
track.
sick. It looks so sick.
Just rollers everywhere, and I just love rollers. It's the most fun.
Yeah. Though I said to you before, before we started recording this conversation here, but you couldn't have found yourself with a better group of people. They obviously have a great facility. They obviously have all that stuff figured out, but just the quality of people that they are amazing. All the stuff that they do behind the scenes to help other riders and help the sport, all that stuff. I mean, it's amazing. So what the Fords do is awesome. And I'm not surprised that, they stepped up when you kind of found yourself needing a place to stay and train, that they stepped up to the plate, because like you and I talked about, I mean, they just want, fast guys to all ride together to hopefully, up the pace for you and for the Ford boys, so I can't imagine that you could have found a better place to be.
Yeah, like I was really, really pumped when I got their call. I was like, oh my God, this is a lifetime opportunity. Like to be like true with you, the first time I take someone to come to ride to the state, it was to the Force Brothers page.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
But probably it's just something in media, like you just don't see a message, or you think it's a joke,
or
you
at the same time,
joke,
or at the same time, they might have not known who you were. So I mean, it's one of those things when you own a racetrack or own a practice facility, like you have to trust the people that are riding on your track too. And now there's obviously no doubt that, you're one of the fastest guys on a ATV on a motocross track in the world. But at that time, they didn't know who you were. They didn't know you were the fastest guy in Costa Rica, So.
And it's just like getting a message from another country, like, this is probably not true.
Right. Yeah.
But for me, it's like really cool to be here. Like, it's just a dream to be here, to be honest. Their places, I cannot ask for more. Like, it's just a dream.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it comes full circle to where you first messaged them, to come here in the States, and now look where you are now. It's 2023. You're prepping for the biggest season of your career, and you find yourself there. And I always tell people, like, it's like things work out the way they're supposed to work out, like who knows what different path you would have been on if you would have started at Ford's back then, and everything you did between, from birds to, Deckers for a few years, the stuff you did with TDR, all that stuff to, now where you are with the Fords. It's like everything led you to where you are now, and you're primed for the biggest season of your career. And that's an awesome place to be.
Yeah. And it's really cool because how can I explain it? Like, it's just like, I don't think when I finished last year, I finished like, okay, I want to keep racing. But through the off season, I keep training a lot. I did a triathlon, whatever.
I saw that. Yeah.
I love triathlon.
Okay.
And so I never stopped working out. I'm actually, right now, I'm the fittest I've been in my life.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So just things came together. Like, I was like not sure if I was racing. So I actually told John, like, I don't know how to ask you, but the last thing I can have is a no. So I just sent him that message, and he answered me like in a really positive way. And I was like, oh my God, like I really want to race again. Like I love this, and this opportunity is just amazing. So I really want to be there.
That's awesome, man. And I love to hear that, first of all, because it shows that, your love for the sport and riding and everything is still there. You still want to do it. You're still hungry. You still love it. But also, like, that's a scary thing. I remember to kind of finish up that last thought, I remember kind of thinking at the end of last season, wondering to myself if you'd come back, because last year was a tough year. I'm so glad that wasn't how it ended for you in the States. And then That is a scary thing. Like I've been in that same role years ago, sending messages to people, looking for whether it was support or someplace to ride or whatever. And I just remember being nervous as could be sending those messages. I couldn't tell you why, but being nervous. And that's kind of going at least out of my comfort zone to ask for, help like that or support or whatever. And when you kind of put that out there and it goes well and you get a positive answer, like that's a good feeling. That's a great feeling. And like I said, awesome to find yourself in that place now.
Yeah, it's just awesome like to hear such a good vibe from someone that wants you to do good. That just like I was probably 20% motivated before I sent that message. And as soon as I got the call, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. Like, this is just God, like, saying me, go. Like,
like you're all in now. You have no reason not to be.
Yeah, and just riding this past week, it was so fun. Like, I just love it. Like, I probably in the off season, I forgot what riding feels like because I didn't ride at all.
Yeah.
And just getting here, feeling the braking bumps, riding the rods, feeling fast, it's just awesome.
It's always so much fun to get on a quad after, you've been off for a while. So you mentioned to me in a previous message that you're a college student too, right? Like you have that going on as well.
Yeah. I'm right now doing college. I really want to finish it as soon as possible. And
got it.
It's really hard. Like I thought I was going to handle it better, but I have classes Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Oh wow, okay.
And
so that makes it tough.
This Saturday we were riding out, and I was like, oh my God, I have school. So I just texted the teacher I was riding, and they know, like they are comprehensive about my situation, and like thanks to the technology, I can watch the class later. So
perfect. Cool.
It just works. Yeah. It's just really hard to work off the quad and then ride and then class it.
It's a lot. So is school or college, is that like Costa Rica? Like, is it back home or?
Yeah, it's back home.
Got it. Yeah. So I was going to obviously ask you if it was tough to balance all of that. I know you're just getting into riding or whatever, but if it was tough to balance academics and being a professional athlete all at once, because I once did that too. And it's not easy. You do have to really kind of manage your time really well, right? Like you can't start the riding part of the season and then let your grades go to shit. Like it doesn't work that way. So, but I will say when you fully invest in taking care of your school and you totally invest in all of your training and you totally invest in all of your riding, you feel so accomplished. And then as soon as you get I'm assuming if it's like here in a few months, you'll be done with this semester of school. And when you kind of put that to bed, then you'll even feel like you grab another gear with your training and your riding, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's for me, it's actually a little bit easier because classes are at night, but sometimes you want to go to bed. Like, and thankfully I'm at the end of the degree, so it's just like really theoretic.
Got it.
Just like proving your points and seeing how can you manage situations. So
got it.
It's not as okay, you have mathematics and resolve all of this and just mentally really tough.
Yeah.
So thankfully it's not like that right now, but I know what you say. Like it's tough, but I know it's going to feel good when I'm done.
Yeah. So what are you going to school for, pal?
I'm going for business administration.
Nice. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, that's one of those things that you can use to, it translates to so many other parts of your life too, right? Like you're learning things in there that you can literally use as part, like towards your race program, towards getting to support, towards managing your own race program like a business. So that's an awesome thing. So as we kind of finish up here, pal. So what are your goals for 2023? Tell me about that.
Well, my biggest goal always has been to appear on one of the jerseys of the races.
Yeah. So an event t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to make it to top 10. That's my biggest goal ever. And for me, going also to a banquet on a top 10 pro class it will just be amazing. Like I'm really going to work hard this year for that, and if not, we'll see what God had for me planned, and if I race more years, that's always going to be my goal. I also want to have some top eights, go down.
Yeah,
because top tens becomes into top eights into top 5, and that's how it goes.
Exactly. I think you're exactly right. I was there once too, where, top 10s was the goal. And then when you get top 10s, then it's 9th. And then when you get 9th, it's 8th. And then when you get 8th, it's 7th. And that's the biggest thing, is just trying to beat, that mark of yours. And all of those goals are realistic. Being top 10 in points is realistic. Getting on the t-shirt is realistic, all those things. And man, what a great goal that is to have. So we started kind of talking about ATV fantasy. We're going to kind of wind down talking about ATV fantasy as well. So why should Digging Deep ATV fantasy players pick you for their squads in 2023, pal? Tell me why.
Because this year I'm going wide open. I'm going dead serious. I really trust myself this year. It's going to be that year where I'm know how to set up the quad better. Learn a little bit more of shocks, a good engine program. I just need to figure out a little bit of things like my mechanic at the races, but after that, I really think I got the speed to be on a top 10 position. Maybe not year round, but I can be battling there every race.
I agree 100%. I think for me, I'll tell you exactly why that you should be on everybody's fantasy team is you never quit, dude. Yeah. I know that if I put you on my team, you're going to give it your all every single time. You've proved that already. Like you were the safe pick, in your tier. And I love that about you, pal. I love the no quit. And now if you're just going to grab another gear, that's going to take you to a whole nother level, man. But yeah, I'd love to see it. I love to hear the enthusiasm in your voice, all the fun that it sounds like you're having. And so how does that work? Like, I've seen your dad at the races, right? Like, do your parents come to the races too? Is that how that works?
Yeah, my mom and dad comes to most of the races. I like to have my dad to help me a little bit, but at the same time, I feel a little bit bad for him. So I'm normally the one that preps the quad in between the races.
Got it.
So it's pretty tough to be your own mechanic and race. So I want to change that for this year. And yeah, you said that about me giving everything. That's what hurt me the most last year, because arm pumping 1 lap, you're done. Like nothing to do. This year is all I want to do. Just give everything I got until the checker flag is out.
Yeah. I think that you're right. I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. It's very difficult to race the pro class. It's like impossibly difficult to race the pro class and wash your quad and keep the thing prepped and do all of that yourself. That is not an easy thing to do. So, so yeah, I'm sure you'll find somebody to kind of help out your program there and do a little bit of the wrenching and stuff, taking you to the gate, all those things. But man, this has been such a fun conversation. You're a guy who, again, I've selected for my fantasy team a million times, seen at the races 100 times, all these things. I think we've waved to each other, but never really got to have a conversation like this. So this has been awesome. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, pal. And I hope you achieve everything you want to and more. Like I said, I love hearing the enthusiasm in your voice. It sounds like you're having some fun. Sounds like you're in a great place there with Fords. And man, I appreciate you so much for coming on here and joining the show. We'll plan to do this in the summer when you get one of those, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, maybe 6th. When you slay it this summer, we'll plan to get you back on the show, because this has been so much fun, pal.
Thank you very much. This podcast is amazing. I always hear them, and it's so nice to have you helping the sport that much. And I have always said that to you, like, it's awesome having a guy like you in the sport. So thank you for the invitation and this time talking with you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. It's one of those things I tell people all the time. Anytime we get a nice positive comment or message like that, it goes a really long way. Like, we work really hard at it, like an episode like the one that these guys are listening to, all the listeners are listening to right now. I mean, a good day or 2 or 3 goes into just one episode, let alone putting the fantasy game together, and we write articles, and we, all the social media stuff we do and all that stuff. Like it goes a long way, but at the same time, like I know the sport is benefiting from what we're doing. And I think the fantasy game does a ton for that. I know like that creates all kinds of coverage for you and attention for you riders. And I hope that, you guys benefit like a little bit from what we're doing. I think I take a lot of pride in the fact that we mention all of you guys on our race review shows and our preview shows and all that stuff. And again, like that's why just the little things like, like all the attention that was on you for the last 2 years with this fantasy game, like you would have like 50 to 60% of the teams had you on them, like that's just amazing. So if you got a couple hundred people playing the game, a few hundred people playing the game, and, so a few hundred of them or whatever are picking you, like that's an awesome thing. A couple hundred of them are picking you. Like it's a really awesome thing. So anyways, pal, I appreciate the kind words. You always do go out of your way to, to thank us for doing what we're doing and appreciate what we're doing. And that means a lot to us. So, but at the same time, nobody would listen to our shows if people like you wouldn't come on and talk to us. So we appreciate you being here. Can't thank you enough for your time, pal. We're wishing you all the best at Daytona and beyond. And I can't wait to see you at the races sometime soon. I've always been a fan of yours, but I would consider you a friend as well.
Thank you very much, Cody. Really appreciate all your words and work.
Awesome, man. That's AMA ATV Pro Cesar Jimenez, the pride of Costa Rica, right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Thanks so much, pal. We'll see you soon, okay? Let's go! I'm ready to go racing right now, guys, but I am looking forward to the next few weeks as we continue to throw fuel on the fire, increasing the hype and anticipation leading up to Daytona. We're going to have new episodes each week between now and the opener. I apologize about only having 2 this past month. I ruptured my eardrum, and simply existing has been miserable, let alone hearing and speaking, but we battled through it tonight here, and just know that we have a lot of content coming in the next few weeks here at Digging Deep. Major thanks to tonight's featured guests, Brandon Hoag, Dane Molander, and Cesar Jimenez. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to Brooke and AMA official Harv Whipple. Thanks to all of our donors. You know who you are. We appreciate you so much. Thanks to all of our partners, CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. SSI Decals, DID Racing Chain, Nemura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymara Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, a special shout out to Impact Solutions, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Sign up for ATV Fantasy today at atvfantasy.com and keep an eye on shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com as we have a fresh batch of merch getting ready to launch, so keep an eye out for that. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. You can also give us a call using our voicemail line, give us your reaction to the show, anticipate the races, and or everything in between. We'd love to hear from you and play your voice on the show. That number is 920-569-3519. Be sure to give us a call, guys. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as the season continues to creep up on us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, our show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Brandon Hoag, Dane Molander, Cesar Jimenez, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with nearly 196,000 downloads last month in 101 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. See you next week. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad leaders are freaking gnarly.